There are pains we gotta follow, there are pains we cannot run when we're looking down the barrel of a gun. It is not about surviving, either living or you're dying. Stand your ground and never ever be afraid, 'cause we are one. 'Cause we are one. So break your chains, take your ground, make some noise and get around, 'cause we are one. Yeah, we are one. We stand united. Whoa, whoa. United, together rise and fall, 'cause it's all for one, one for all. Yeah, it's all for one. And we will stand our ground.
Hello and welcome back to DreamHack Showdown Winter. You chilling, Potter? You all right? You having a nice time? Do you want to get back into your camera frame? You know?
Yeah,
Like-
I wanted to show off my dog, show the Twitch chat what they really want to see. But yeah, man, what an opening. What an opening. That was dominance. That was hard to cast, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I'm excited for the second one. As Steph mentioned in that opening segment, this is a little bit of domestic rivalry coming through, and those always hit a little bit different.
Yes.
But that's the thing. I was going to say, like, Miss Harvey earlier was saying that she's almost your prodigy. So, well, what does it feel like, Miss Harvey, working alongside the world-class analyst that is Potter?
Miss Harvey's being kind. I'm definitely her prodigy, but yeah, definitely. I'm excited, man. This is my second time being on the desk with Steph. And
Yeah.
Steph, you're the most passionate person that I know about esports. I always tell you this, so this is definitely a treat for me.
For better or for worse, right, Christine? I am extremely passionate. I feel that I'm a transparent human, right? You know, right through me, what I'm feeling like. And I'm feeling really excited for today, being on the desk with you both. But also, like you mentioned, a little bit of a local rivalry here with NOFEAR5 and Pride. I love me some Russian matchups. So I'm super excited for it.
And this is great. You're just doing my job for me. So that's the match we've got coming up. And now we're actually going to start taking a little bit of a look at the bracket, I believe, just to see how things have been going down so far. And, well, Potter, you've been casting some of these matches. Has there been anything so far on the European side of the bracket that has surprised you or caught you off guard?
Maybe not surprised, but man, Anna yesterday for Galaxy Racer, she was absolutely stunning in the server. Just her AWP work, the quickness coming out of her, it was fantastic to watch. So I'm very much looking forward to see where Galaxy Racer are up against XSET. But other than that, man, it's the same scenes, I think, in Europe right now.
Well, yeah, that's obviously the top half of the bracket, but we're going to go into what will be a bit more of a brutal showing. No Fear obviously losing yesterday, Miss Harvey, against a team that looked very good, but at the same time, I feel like there might have been a few holes in their matchup themselves. Do you expect them to be a bit better in the match today?
I do. You have to expect teams coming up on day 2, 3, and 4 to be looking better, to have kind of the nerves, I hope, shaking away. And as I say that, I think back at Arcane Waves today on the first game, and it was completely the opposite of what I just said. But, I think that on NOFEAR5, there's a little bit more depth and experience at the high caliber games. And that's what I'm looking for today, is how Pride is going to match up versus what we saw in the server yesterday with NOFEAR5.
Yeah, definitely a roster with a decent amount of firepower, that's for sure. But we're now going to take a look at the veto. We want to start this one off, Potter. And in terms of a CIS brawl, is there any map that springs to mind that you think they could be heading to?
I think Inferno and Vertigo are going to get vetoed out in this first round right away. And I have no idea what to expect coming out of Pride. But for NOFEAR5, I expect them to actually lean back into that trade. Yesterday, it was rough scenes. They were pretty much getting bullied by Galaxy Racer's aggression, but it seems like a comfort pick for these ladies. It seems like just a few small details didn't come through for fruition. So I wouldn't be surprised if they lean back into that again, but they will not.
Nuke and Overpass. Nuke has been a fan favorite for every single team that we've seen in this tournament so far. I'm interested. I love it. I love that the women's team at the moment in this tournament are looking to play more complicated maps that need more depth to potentially kind of weed out teams that are puggy style, like Nuke, Overpass, train as a decider, like no Mirage, no Dusty, no Inferno again. So this is fun to see. These are the maps that usually are played less. So I'm excited to see some Nuke again.
Yeah, we've gone into almost a full group of tactical maps. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing the depth of both of the teams and the in-game leaders and the calling more so. I'm also looking forward to seeing what Twitch chat's going to do. Are they hashtag fear or hashtag pride? And I know I'm a little bit scared being on a desk with two legends next to me. So, you know, I'm going to go with a hashtag fear. But other than that, we are going to make our way into the first team. And, well, of course, that will be NOFEAR, who are going to be a team that I feel like we have to watch here. Like, obviously, one of the invite teams, Potter. So do we expect a little bit more from them over the side of Pride?
You know, I definitely hope so, right? And I'm looking straight at Fatal and I'm looking straight at Victoria. Victoria had an okay game yesterday, series, in fact, on the stats side of things. But, you know, I want a little bit more from her, maybe 10% more or so. It seems like she had a few opportunities, missed opportunities yesterday. So today, if she's swinging full force, that should definitely help. And I think Tori's addition to this squad has definitely been spectacular. She's been holding out that second AWP, and the way she's playing right now, it seems like all the gears are kind of rolling in the right direction for NOFEAR5.
I like their pictures. They are looking like there's no fear to be seen in their eyes. They're ready for this matchup today, and I'm also ready to see more action from them. Throughout the last decade and a half, we've seen so many good Russian teams come out and good Russian players. And I know I keep hammering it down, but I just can't wait to see these ladies frag today.
Well, I watched the game yesterday versus Galaxy Racers, and the thing that I actually was quite excited about this team, as you mentioned, Tori, was one of the players who was very, very aggressive. Like, they were happy to take fights on the CT side. They were looking to push and get in the face of their opponents. Do you think they're going to like consider doing the same thing today, considering it didn't work perfectly, to say the least?
Yeah, it didn't work perfectly, but those opportunities were there. Is that on my screen? That is interesting, but we'll see what's new with the new features and improvements coming through for Pride here. But yeah, I gotta agree with Steph. The Russian rivalry here, the fact that this is a domestic matchup, and the fact that these teams and individuals are so familiar with each other, I think it's going to bring another level. Tori should be feeling super confident. Fatal and DSHK, and I believe Utopia, these three are extra familiar with each other, being past teammates. So, I mean, I'm looking for some spice in this series, Tom.
Yeah, and I kind of want to focus on that again with Miss Harvey. Like, if you take these two teams, I would guess head to head, if you just look at the individuals, you would probably say that this is not an easy game for NOFEAR, but one we expect them to win, being a team that's like challenged well in the last few tournaments. Does it change when it becomes domestic? Obviously, you will have fought against Dignitas a million times. Even if you were the favored or not, would it still be very close, even if they were in poor form when you were in great form?
I think it does change everything, especially since NOFEAR5 as demos to be reviewed, as things to be counter-shredded. When you are the challenger in your local scene, you usually have more time to study your opponents, because that's what you're looking for. You're looking to beat them down. So I do think that this matchup might be a little bit closer than we expect, even if Pride on paper is not looking as good as NOFEAR5.
Well, it's time to take a look at Pride on paper. Like, have a look at the individuals within this roster. I know that looking back, I recognize a few of the names from previous tournaments, like Dushka, Tati as well, are names that I've seen around. But Potter, if you were going to try and highlight a player within this roster that we should focus on that might give their opponents a run for their money, who would you take?
I'm going to put Jamie on the pedestal. She's a player that I'm least familiar with out of all 10 of these players, you know, and when looking at her past history, she has a very interesting one. She qualified for WESG 2018 with the male squad, and it was a pug, but, you know, she represented Kyrgyzstan and made it all the way into that main tournament. And hey, there were blowout matches. There were very one-sided matches, but I think that sort of experience playing versus high caliber opponents, it should play a factor coming into this series.
Well, you mentioned as well, Miss Harvey, about like unknowns. Like this team comes in, although they have obviously played probably versus a few of the individuals of No Fear. Do you think No Fear will have been able to do much research into this roster?
I doubt it. Also, usually when you are at the top of your scene, you don't look as much as what under you, but more like what's upward, what's next. So I'm really thinking that here, this is all in the hands of Pride to surprise us and win that victory, especially, you know, they're a little bit more on the honeymoon phase in NOFEAR5. They are kind of a new squad with that merge between what we've seen before with Lazarus, who was a very successful roster with Tati and Dash Q, as you mentioned. So I'm excited. I know I need to find new synonyms. Christine, send me like a Wikipedia of synonyms for the word excited, because I can't stop saying it.
You know what the key is? You just gotta Google excited for the synonyms, and you know, just go through that toilet paper roll of different words there.
All right,
I love the idea. It's not I will Google them. It's Christine, Google me these words. Like find me some words.
Hey, teamwork's the dream work, baby.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we are going to start edging our way into what will be the predictions. And I'm curious which way you're going to be going with this, because you've sort of set it up as the guys over at, or the girls over at Fear are the ones that, or No Fear, I should say, are the ones that are favored in this series. But at the same time, there's a good chance that their opposition have done a fair bit of research and prepared probably better for their opponent.
Yeah, I have to go with NOFEAR5 here, but I've been extremely terrible at these predictions so far this week. So, you know, I'm giving it a little bit of a doubt. I don't know if I should be as confident, but NOFEAR5 here, great showing in the last couple of tournaments online that's been happening in Europe. Also, they are the team to beat, so I'm gonna have to go with that today.
I'm gonna go the opposite way here. I think you know, Steph is completely right. NOFEAR5 on paper, they should be winning this one, but DSHQ, man, she just seems to be able to turn an extra gear sometimes in these high pressure matches. So I'm looking straight at her. I'm hoping that she has an explosive match, but I'm behind Pride all the way here.
Now you've left me in a position, because you're basically, it's not even just necessarily if I want to pick between the two teams. I've now got to pick if I'm siding with Miss Harvey or Potter, and that
you just made it really hard on yourself. You didn't have to do that.
Can I just escape here? I'm sure Pansy's sat in the background just giggling to herself, like, who do I fear the most is the question. I don't know. I feel like I went against Miss Harvey in the last one, and I was correct. So that almost makes me now want to go with her and try and double back. And also, I want to take every opportunity to go against Potter, because I feel like that's a lot more fun. Just be a bit more toxic. Be a bit more toxic, you know? But I'm also interested to see where Twitch chat has gone. Like, maybe I should have waited. Like, I don't think I'm actually allowed to do that, but Twitch chat normally gives me a pretty good...
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's actually...
It is really close.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how close it is. Maybe Twitch chat has more information than we do about these teams, you know?
Well, the thing I looked at, like going into the qualifier as well, we saw Pride actually face off against Project C on Nuke, and it was a really dominant map in their favor. So I wonder maybe if you focus on the qualifier and you say, okay, that's one of the maps that's going to be coming up, you kind of look at that and go, okay, this team beat this team, A plus A always equals B, even though in most cases it doesn't. So potentially they're going to be looking at that side of things and saying, okay, well, they showed in the past that they can beat one of the teams we've witnessed. Nonetheless, I believe that we are going to be getting towards our first match. So that's going to be Pride facing off against No Fear. It's the CIS teams going up against each other. Our desk is also going up against each other. And now we get to combine two names, Vince and Pansy. How do we do that? Is it Pince?
Vanzy.
Vanzy?
Oh, Vanzy.
I don't know. I like Vincey. I think Vince is the one that we go for. So
Okay,
we're going to be handing it over to Vincey after a short break.
We will stand our ground. We'll stand our ground.
having a chat with our desk. They are a strange bunch, Vince. I don't know how you dealt with Potter in the first game, but you know, we'll take it a little easier. We've got that kind of COD 4 background to fall back to. We'll be fine, hopefully, right? We'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll be all good. We'll be all good. I think we got this on lock. Yeah, they are an interesting bunch, Lauren. That's absolutely correct. I couldn't quite keep a straight face going into this, but I'm gonna try and put all of that to the back of my mind now.
Okay. We'll move on. We'll put it in a box and deal with it in therapy later. We do have Pride against NOFEAR5 now. I think I got to cast NOFEAR5 before, and it felt like they were their own biggest enemies. But again, when it comes into these kind of regional domestic matchups, things always get a bit weird, right? It kind of skews some of those background informations. I don't really know where to sit coming into this, and I think the desk is somewhat the same.
Yeah, as am I, to be honest. I mean, I know that obviously in previous DreamHack showdowns, NOFEAR5 have had decent run of results, probably other favorites coming into this. But as you said, their last game against Galaxy Racer didn't look too great, to be honest. They did shoot themselves in the foot a bunch of times. And when you do have these sort of intertwined regional games, they'll probably have a lot of intel on each other. They probably played with and against each other a ton of times, so it's really hard to say. I could see this being very close.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map pool as well. We've got Nuke, Overpass, and Train. These are not puggy maps. You know, in the last affair we had Mirage coming in, but kicking off on Nuke, this is going to be, I feel it can be very defining. Sometimes you'll see that team just simply be far more regimented, have that comfort level instantaneously. But as said, I really don't know what to expect here, Vince. I mean, this is completely up in the air for me. I like seeing a T-side coming in with a bit of utility there as well. So hopefully we have a banger of a first round.
That's certainly the dream, isn't it? I mean, in our previous best of 3, we saw Nuke kind of just get swept away on the T side. Just a lot of very aggressive outside hits, and that's basically what's coming up straight away from Pride, looking to get that wall of smokes outside and see if they can push behind it. But actually, they're just smoking off main. This will allow Fatal a couple of chances at least at snapping some heads off, but they've got down Secret.
Okay, that's the first step in the, I guess, puzzle for this. MRSK is quick, though, to get to the vent, so information received. Victoria does find Utopia, so things are still being kept in check for the CTs, but it does get a bit sketchy. My eyes go to where is that bomb, and it's with Tati at the moment, so got to be a little bit careful here. Pocha could potentially help out, but they're just losing numbers.
Maybe too many numbers have already been culled away. Jammy, pardon me, should be able to get the drop on a couple players, but they actually bypassed most of those shots. Does get winged from the side. All the intel for Jammy. She's seen all 4 players. That's going to be huge amounts for the rest of Pride to work off. Tati now with the Glock, putting it down range, down vent, and Pocha alongside her, pretty much snuffing out the CTs. The HP's not looking great for Pride, but they do have the player advantage.
Yeah, the smoke's still in play in a kit with Fatal as well, so quickly going to get to the bomb, at least start trying to draw away some of these players. Nice pick up from Tori there. Pocha loses ahead, and this has suddenly gone incredibly well. Very well played on the playback in. I thought this was going to swing Pride's favor there. Somehow getting that plant down, somehow making it look favorable, even though there's 4 of the CTs alive. That wasn't a bad round, all said and done. It was looking a bit rough. And honestly, if I'm going to be honest, just hearing someone from the north say Tati has made me very happy.
See, I try and tone down my accent while casting, but there's certain names where it comes out. You know, Tati's definitely one of them.
Guess what? Pot on go, would you love? Fatal pushing out towards T-Red, though. NOFEAR5 coming with a pretty reserved purchase, but I guess it's all you're going to get going at this point. And we do have the buyback in for the Ts as well.
Yeah, straight back in after that post-plant. MP9, Mac-10, Galil, and the Deagle, but they have already conceded a player alongside NoFear, looking to try and congregate down towards the ramp. Where Tori is waiting with the M4. Spray is good for 1, but traded out. That's an extra weapon that gets picked up, and actually a solid weapon on top of it. Although they decide to bypass that and just go straight towards the B site. MRSK is still waiting here with the MP9, but not exactly tailor-made to fend off the push.
You're spot on. Really lacking a bit of that oomph you'd have liked, but makes it work nonetheless. Already expecting the push coming back in, but success for Utopia means this is still viable, but Pocha has to be pivotal in this, I feel. Those 2 players locked in towards ramp are going to be pretty bold in this essence, and they are. Now, yes, they lost out on that rifle. I'm surprised they aren't able to recover it. No, so they've got the Galil and Famous. Not exactly perfect, but it will keep the money humble, I guess, for the CT. Certainly not swelling out of control yet.
Absolutely. Whether they can get much done in this round, though, because they can't really post up too much without fully investing. This is a great chance for NOFEAR to get that economy under wraps. 5 grenades, though, picked up with a Deagle and P250. That's an interesting assortment of weaponry and utility that's come to the forefront. I'm not sure where they'll be banking these nades off, because they're actually headed towards ramp, where Tori's just been tagged. That's sound cues that come across, and they're just going to overwhelm the ramp side. Victoria can get one. Will be overwhelmed momentarily. How does she survive with 4 HP?
I have no idea. I don't think she does either. MRSK, though, has to keep control in control, and she does. Very well played there, just keeping that ramp cross safe. No chance for a bomb plant. And old Jammy Dodger here trying to do what she can. 1v2. I mean, Fatal is low, but there is still armor in play, so the Glock might have an issue. Maybe if there was a P250 or something left around, there could have been a bit more oomph to this, but very limited options here. And Galil's not bad, actually.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Actually, and with just shy of a minute to play with, she could maybe still get this done. One bullet onto either of these 2 CTs, they'll be goners. You can pretty much scrap everything that we said as well at the start of the round in terms of this being the one where the CTs build up their economy. They've already lost 3, and there may be more to follow.
Jemmy's going to get the chance to get that bomb as well, so going to be meticulous in clearing, and I don't blame her either. You want to try and get as much information as possible. Opting to not pick up the bomb and commit towards control. It's going to be an interesting choice with 25 seconds. She's going to have to start making noise here if she does want to go for this. And here it is. So smoke still to play with and 1 nade. Oh, this is... Oh, it's not ideal right now. Jemmy kind of losing track of potential CT positions. MRSK can just push that smoke if wanted, opts to just spam, and it gets the job done. But I think something that's quite important here is the money, again, is going to be kept quite low for NOFEAR5. They're not going to be able to get that, you know, that nice bank coming in. They'll be able to get a buy going for sure, but it's certainly far from ideal. You're going to have, you know, a couple of players want 3.5 down there, so may have to kind of, you know, supplement the purchase, spread some of the wealth, and Pride has kept them somewhat humble even without posting that round on the board.
100% agree. Plus, with a post plant, it gives Pride a swell of cash. Had a couple players around the $7,000 mark, so won't be fully investing all of their money. This means that next round, regardless with the round loss bonus, Pride will have more buys coming into effect. So they have managed to keep NOFEAR within arm's reach while simultaneously giving themselves a bit of a buffer. But can NOFEAR get some frags out? Fatal sees 3 running outside. What a strange angle to engage with.
Do you know what? I don't blame Fatal to be maybe a little curious why 3 people are just dry-facing by T-Red, but you know what? If it gets the job done, and it does, who am I to question it? Jammy could be in trouble, though. A bit of a crunch towards lobby, but seems aware of the possibility, however, can't do much about it. Luckily for them, the bomb is with DSHQ, or Dushka, as the desk obviously said. Tom Biz gave us that one, so thank you for that. But a 4v2, and with that AWP in play, I don't see many options.
No, I think, again, going back to what we said about the economy, they have to save. There's no real other option available to them. So Pride have finally got their success. Awkward encounters, to put it mildly, but it has gone their way.
Just 3 people at T-Red just swinging out on you. All right.
The classic memes.
Oh, damn. All right, Victoria, keep hold of the AWP. You kind of need that one. And I think, speaking about it, Victoria was pretty solid. I don't want to say it was a big high performance, you know, it wasn't like a crazy pop-off or anything, but Victoria was certainly present in that previous game, certainly a name that stood out a little. It wasn't, as said, that big game, but it was decent. I'd love to see more of what she could potentially do. I think that's something that I'm looking forward to maybe finding a bit of form here as well. But we have to keep eyes on the economy here, Vince. I mean, it's looking ropey.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, even after kind of biding their time and saving the 2 guns, you've got an MP9, you've got a FAMAS. Now, these absolutely can work, but if they were struggling to beat Deagles, not too sure about this one. Aggression outside, though. Victoria trades that 1 for 1, and Dushka straight away nullifies 2. It's secret control again.
It was just brute force, wasn't it? Just coming back in with 2 like that is absolute filth. And now the problem is, 2 of the players still alive were the ones with the weaker weaponry. You really wanted that AWP to do well here. And do you know what? If you're going to go for CT aggression, I get... Uh-oh, Tori, come on now. Sharper than that we need to be today. Quick trade out, Tati there instantaneously. And look at this control, catching those rotations. Now, can't actually punish them. So Dushka's going to be called back into task now as... Wait, where's the bomb?
It's a good question. Is it down in secret?
Oh, dear.
Might be next to the staircase, hence NOFEAR's positioning, and Dushka wants to go pick that up, but she can't really. So they need to try and find a way back in. Elizabeth is watching from the garage. Jamie, in the meanwhile, making moves, but they'll see each other momentarily. The spray is labored, but Elizabeth puts the bullet in the head. That could be the round following. Dushka, a lot of damage, has already picked up 2, adds a 3rd to the mantle. 30 seconds left. Was anticipating that incendiary and instantly extinguishes it, which plays some mind games with Elizabeth. She needs to pick up the bomb. She's trying to get it. There we go. And now she can make a move down to B site.
Yeah, we'll see what Elizabeth does here. Has the vents as an option? Probably be opting for that. Yeah, no subtlety to this either, being very noisy about it. So we will know that on the side, door now open. Dushka's going to have to get a wriggle on 8 seconds, trying to toy with it, and now gives it away. This is a problem. There goes that molly. The spread's going to be there. 40 HP, 2010, dead. A bit of a fumble at the end. I don't know how that bomb got left there, but NOFEAR5 not going to let that go.
A nice clarity as well in the chaos from Elizabeth to toss down the incendiary, knowing that that would pretty much secure the round with 5 seconds. There was no other option for Dushka. She had to stick on the site. 4-1, but again, it's 4 players being killed. And Lauren, they just still have those same issues that we were talking about already.
Yeah, it's going to get to the point where you're not going to get those AWPs. You're going to be missing those Molotovs. You're going to be struggling on this. And it's going to be causing a big problem. We know that Nuke is a very curious map in that essence, that you will end up being hindered and hampered by the lack of utility. For now, though, they're still somewhat okay. You can see them having to bank on those Molotovs to deny any early aggression from the T's, but the purchase looking quite strong. We do have the AWP out for Potcher. Obviously, the CIS Potter is what I'm donning it as. So, already Dushka trying to get a little bit of spam going, but no harm, no foul to start with.
Some key smokes have already been deployed around ramp that will clear momentarily. And when you consider that all the utility on the CT side is centralized behind Elizabeth and Victoria, that doesn't bode well for the rest of the team. They have to get the perfect reads of rotations, and in that transitional phase, they may get picked off. Tati now moving downstairs with the rest of the Ts. And we've been here before quite a few times. This downstairs control has consistently been an issue. MRSK with just a FAMAS to try and hold on from Decon.
Like the jump peaks, hopefully gets the info soon. Does. Oh, a little too late in the day. Tati just going to power forward. Victoria's here quite early, though. I thought she might opt to go towards control room, maybe, but no. Decided to kind of post up here towards the kind of walkway. The rafters spammed out. It's rough here. Victoria's not loving this at all. Dead to right. Tati has done wonderfully at taking down towards lower.
Now, she's done an exquisite job, honestly. Post-plant comes in again, and this is where NOFEAR have to have half an eye towards that economy. Do they want to fight this? Well, it doesn't matter. That option has been taken away from them. Tati with an AK, sprays 2 down, picks up the 4K. Even on for the ace, but unlikely that she'll bump heads with Tori anytime soon, because Tori's gone back to CT spawn to save, but finally that economy has caught up with the CT.
And I think you highlighted a very integral point of this round that, you know, around 30, maybe 40 seconds at most, they had already lost half of that utility. It was, I think, Elizabeth and Victoria were the only ones still standing. And, of course, Tati's performance is certainly going to help out cracking open a site, but it's going to be rough all around if you're operating with very little. And we've seen Pride's favor for taking secret control, outer control. They are happy to do this. And now there's that knock-on effect. Finally, NOFEAR5 are going to be operating with very little. And this is Tati just powering through. The tags done earlier, that damage towards Victoria was, you know, unable to recover.
Pretty one-dimensional strats for the most part on Pride, though, and it's a similar kind of situation to what we saw in the previous best of 3, where Project C were just funneling downstairs time and time again. Tori, the timing not quite working out, was anticipating the flash from Fatal, but turned at the worst possible moment. Very unfortunate timing. But again, no huge surprises. This gives a little bit of credence outside. However, there's no smokes, no flashes. They get punished from Fatal's Deagle, taking plenty of damage, but they're giving out just as much as they're receiving. Fatal, 5 HP. USP headshot from that range. Pride, what are you doing?
Oh no, this is... are they inting? Is this looking throwy? I'm getting a bit worried here. Jammy's like, guys, just please bring the bomb over, but that gap could cost life. And Fatal giving you another shot at this one as well. Tati gonna keep powering forward, but this is starting to look so sketchy. I hate it so much. And now Jammy going to be trying to watch towards Heaven. Fatal's up there, but very low HP. Does have the Deagle, so maybe could do a little bit of damage on the way out. But this could still cause so many problems. I'll see the CT side play back in. We've got Victoria coming up through ramp, but where's that 3-stack playing in from?
All from Heaven. Very difficult to see how they push through here. Pochio watching the back will have the drop, and Fatal's dropped to a death. What's that? I didn't quite catch what happened. Jammy now comes back in and will hold the line.
Just had a fumble. It's like when your family calls you up, oh, your nan's had a fall. Oh dear. She's done her knees in again. 4-3. Just had a little tumble. But considering the scenario that this is one of those way closer games that it should be. Some of the rounds not being particularly clean and the double eco coming out. Little bits of investments here and there, but it's light. It is very light. Some USPs, a couple of P250s, a massive stack though. Utopia might be a dystopia at this point. The flash comes in. They are all blind. Utopia is trying to keep them safe. And now they have somewhat quelled the threat. That was messy.
Definitely not giving us much confidence, but I suppose if they keep getting across the finish line, they will keep trying to expose this. Elizabeth, nice headshot. Will be able to trade up to an AK-47, has no Kevlar behind it, so in terms of winning the round out by herself, unlikely, but at least an AK added to the arsenal of weaponry will be a nice little bonus. It does mean that Pride, though, will be tying us back up at 4 apiece. My question here, Lauren, is what are NOFEAR going to do about this outside control? Because it's becoming a very real problem now.
I mean, I look at what worked so well for the likes of Xset, for example, Giuliano, Zaz, that sort of, mixture of players that we saw coming out. I loved how Giuliano was playing around Secret, being a constant nuisance, never allowing it for free, even with the wall of smokes, being able to read whether or not it's an actual commitment or simply a ruse and, to kind of divert attention. So I'd love to see someone a little bit more proactive. I don't know if it's MRSK's job or who would be that player to sit potentially towards Secret a little bit more proactively, but I'd like to see it maybe a bit more AWP presence, maybe a little bit more something. I mean, it hasn't been... it's not the most choreographed piece in the world. It's nothing brand new. There's a million and one answers. Taking map control elsewhere, being more proactive towards lobby, a little bit more attentive towards ramp. Plenty of options still available to the CTs, and a double AWP as an answer is a pretty big one as well.
It's also a very costly one. So we'll see if they can put that double AWP in play, one of which is Victoria. Bit of an off angle, not necessarily perched up around Garage or Heaven. Keeping her options available. That wall of smokes put down again. I also agree. I think maybe controlling it from more of a passive angle downstairs, having control, having decon stairs is maybe a way forward. They do need to retain ramp control if that were to be the case, though. If you lose ramp when you're playing more passive, it basically forfeits Heaven. It forfeits the A site. So there's a lot of pressure being applied early on in this half. And in terms of momentum, certainly favors Pride. I love that flashbang, actually hugging the ceiling off the light, forces Fatal away. Good smoke has been put down, but Pride, they're getting rid of this utility.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that other 3 kind of players to make their move. You can see Tori, the want would be to try and support towards that lower side. Elizabeth obviously wanted to do the same, trying to get that information, but MRSK's the one to do it. Nice play from Tori. The timing couldn't have been better, and the spray is on point. They've controlled it. They found the 3 players. One, of course, which had the bomb, and Utopia might be able to cost them an AWP here, which would be lovely. Let's see what Utopia can do. Sadly, that bomb is nowhere within reach, and they have swarmed this. So maybe just grab the AWP, make sure they can't get it back, because I'm not sure if the money could really support it at this point. But it looks like NOFEAR have at least held this one again for now.
Yeah, it's looking good with 15 seconds. Utopia may be on a bit of a exit frag mission, knowing the economy of NOFEAR can be in no great shape, but she will hold on to this AWP, does put her at fairly low economy with the rest of the team able to buy again. Shadow betrays Elizabeth. So that's at least a little bit more costly than NOFEAR were hoping for, but at least they've got themselves back into winning ways after what was 4 losses in a row.
Yeah, a little timeout coming in now. I don't feel that Pride's been particularly worked out, if I'm honest. That was just kind of a ramp pinch towards lower, it looked like, and for once we saw them actually holding ramp pretty well. The aggression worked out at the right time. That lobby crunch paid in, so maybe to talk through that CT side aggression that maybe caught them off there, or maybe consider their plan going forward, but this is still a pretty competent T-side considering how this started. You know, they were so close to breaking that economy for so long, and when they finally did, they're obviously reaping the benefits. But as said, you know, they want to get the timeout in now, maybe talk through their options.
Yeah, we're in that kind of situation where the scoreline maybe doesn't paint the full picture of how this game has gone. If you just came in, more than half the rounds NOFEAR have picked up were off the back of the pistol. So when it's been rifles, it's by and large been going in the way of Pride. Again, they will change up their angles a little bit, more aggression towards Squeaky. That forces out some valuable utility in the form of incendiaries. There's actually none left. One was tossed outside to blockade these smokes. Second one goes in. There is a gap in the smokes, though.
Oh, that could have cost them. They invested so much towards it. Where is Victoria in this? Victoria finding the pick there from, I guess it's ramp falling away, and that's, again, bombs at the back of lobby. This is a problem. They've taken that lower control, but instantaneously the CT side being well and truly aware that, hey, look, Secret doesn't actually have a bomb site on it, so they can take that, and we'll just absolutely lock down the rest of the map. Victoria this time, having to be careful. I'm not sure how long that position is sustainable, considering that smoke will dissipate, but Tati looking for an answer towards Secret, and a little sloppy on that one as MRSK will punish, and Potya. Not much more to be done. A 1v5 would be a tall task. 50 seconds and 2 players. Spots one, almost baited in on it. MRSK comfortable now, finding kind of form and comfort, it looks like, towards that lower level.
Yeah, once they've put these two ops in play, they've had pretty resounding success. Been great to see their aggression outside, not giving up main, actually wide swinging on it and getting good flashes, and Molotov's out. MRSK here putting on a bit of a clinical performance with the AK. 3 players sprayed down. And that's the 2-round lead opening up, Lauren, and now it's Pride's turn to feel the economic burn. They're down to just pistols.
Yeah, it shouldn't be easy to find placement for these pistols. It's quite tricky if that utility is in the right place, but 2 big dinks going to come out. MRSK and Tori going to be suffering off the back of that. You can see them trying to push in off the back, but MRSK good for 1. You've still got Elizabeth up on top by rafters, keeping some control. Waiting to see if maybe Potya can find some more presence to do some work. Molotov going to keep them safe. This is very comfy. Yes, they lost out on 1, but you'll take that at this point. And Fatal there in support. NOFEAR5, you're right. That double AWP has been the perfect answer so far for them here.
So now the question goes, Pride, how do you get that fluidity back into effect? What do you tweak? Do we see a timeout come out to try and figure out where they go forward from here? Because outside not working quite as well as it was before, albeit within the context of having just pistols in that last round. Now they have full AKs, they can be a bit more mobile, a bit more of a threat. Early grenades tossed in again on both sides. Molly towards main may force out over rotation from NOFEAR, and Utopia is hoping to make the most of that. Big headshot to MRSK, which has been such an integral part of the map for the CTs, and now things are starting to come undone. Elizabeth at the back of the site doing a great job to hold on for 1 frag, but I don't think it'll be enough unless Tori can keep that going on Heaven. 10 HP separates her from her demise, but it's a 2-on-2.
Yeah, this pace change has kind of paid dividends for now, but Tati and Utopia still have to hold this. It's going to be tough to retake with the AWP, especially with the smoke still in play and everything else biding time. Kits are plenty, but yeah, double AWPs now being picked up. You almost consider this has got to be a save, but there's a switch out to the rifle, so maybe Fatal still feeling a little up for this. And yeah, we've actually got Tori on the side. This is still very, very doable. And they're both in such poor post plants. Oh, if Fatal could have held that, it could have been such a different scenario. Tati very well played in the end, but I get a little nervous when those post plants could be held by potentially 1 player. Not to be. Pride find their answer. And it felt like that pace change, punishing those double AWPs, not allowing them those chances to get those picks.
Scrappy 2v2 after what looked like it would be a bloodbath. The T's getting the early picks. Well played by Tati again. Has been the standout player for me so far on the server. Not just because she has the most frags, but she's had the most impact on a lot of these rounds.
Oh, I'm with you. And it's not surprising to hear a Northerner loving a potato or 2. Victoria has a little look, loses out. Potya very aware. And to be fair, Victoria, we have seen quite consistent aggression towards, the T-Red. It hasn't been a once in a while. It's as soon as I can. But Fatal going to post up. Wait, no, going to continue pushing? posting up would be more than enough. Yeah, I think that's an overstep. They're desperate to kind of even the keel, but gave it away further.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It felt like because they lost Victoria so early on, it was like, I've got to push for information, but all you've done is put your team in a far worse situation here. And they've won rounds, you know, trailing by a player here or there. It's not as if it was completely out of the realms of possibility. It's still winnable. Is that 2 smokes in the exact same position? That's a bit of a off communication. Perhaps not that it matters, because Tori just gets wide swung, insta one tap by Utopia. It's a beautiful headshot from her, but not looking good for NOFEAR's endeavors towards getting back into winning ways.
No, it looks like Pride have found their answer. I think it was kind of gifted this round a little from that obviously pick towards the outside area and the double down on it. Jammy's got to be careful on the timing here. 2 players in towards lobby. Keeping a lot of control. And for now, it looks like they're trying to maybe see what they can grab. Maybe if the AWP's still around, still available. Could be a worthwhile endeavor here. No one's policing it yet. I wonder if that's been tended to. I don't know if it's still out there. So they should be able to recover it if it's still down. So we'll see. Dushka is now being very cognizant of this. Spots out one. There's the AWP. It is now being picked up by MRSK, but you now got players swarming this. Look at Jammy's position. That should be a freebie. The second as well. Yeah, Tati's there. And I don't mind that from the CTs. You really wanted those guns back in play, but what played to Pride to keep that in check?
Great flank from Jammy. No saved weapons today. And so once again, NOFEAR5 feeling the effects. They'll be calling a tactical timeout. In terms of weaponry, maybe some upgraded pistols here, Lauren, but can they really justify forcing? I mean, it's getting towards the end of the half. Maybe they feel compelled to try and win this out 9-6, but I feel like this could do more harm than good.
I'm with you. I mean, the money has been a consistently difficult factor. We've seen both teams on the receiving end of having the kitty depleted, but you're right. It is that kind of we want a strong half to close out strong, but the knock-on effects can be pretty potent. And bearing in mind, the big answer for NOFEAR5 was that double AWP, and that is not a cheap one to get rolling. So at the moment, it looks quite conservative. A couple of upgraded pistols, bits of armor, but no one dipping below 2k, so still going to be able to bound into the next one, but another pacey piece towards that outside area. We've seen this time and time again. Happy to take the fight and lead themselves down, but there's a lot of players down here. This is a stack, and this could do some damage, and if Botchu's not careful, this is a little too brazen for my taste.
I'm amazed she even got a headshot with the AWP, and that's the AWP running in first. It's not like a run and gun with one of the AKs. Like, that is madness, and it could cost them everything. The bomb's been dropped, it has been retrieved. Now Dushka instantly dig through the smoke, and look where her teammates are. They're in no position to help her at all. What an odd round of Counter-Strike this has been, and it could just go that little bit worse for Pride. Only Jammy remains, big headshot, but 21 HP. And an AWP and the Deagle up against her. Tori wants to go for those peaks. She has eyes on the bomb, and as long as those eyes are on the bomb, she knows she doesn't have to move, but that's an important smoke that comes into play. Jammy now going back into the open. Is there a gap in that smoke that can be exploited? There is. And Jammy now being flanked through the vents.
She considered it for a second or two. She considered it, and Jammy just about keeps this in check. That round should not have been that close, though. Sloppiness being shown, I feel, there from Pride. I do not love seeing a bounding AWP flying around, unless you're, was it Anna, I think, yesterday, who was just, like, insane. You don't get away with this. You should not be able to. I like a stack. I like seeing CTs go for it, and there can always be threats, don't get me wrong. But keeping that focus, keeping that consideration is a huge element here. Now the scoreline again, 7-7. This is a close game between these two, and the kind of pendulum has swung both ways now.
Yeah, we still haven't quite reached that balancing point, feels, even though it is even. Because I suppose you'd say NOFEAR5, they got the first pistol, how things would have been different otherwise, but a 1-for-1 trade, keeping that equilibrium in play. Should favor Pride, though. They've typically done very well when they've got these even trades to kick the round off.
Fatal could be huge this round. I like this positioning because it at least keeps that information that no one's actually committed to secret. But now getting a little curious, going to find one. Going to hear the second as well. Tati, no subtlety, pouring on in. The shadow gives it away. This is great from Fatal. Perfect 3 kills and controls the position. And now Jammy put to task, and the task is far beyond. NOFEAR5 are going to lead on the half. But I mean, finest of margins here, Vince. This is not a clear-cut game at all. Now, bearing in mind, this was Pride's map pick, so we've got to hope coming into that second half, this will be much cleaner for them. However, we're going to go to a short break. When we're back, we'll find out the conclusion of map 1.
We will stand our ground.
All the things you do, here's to you. Here's to you. Merry, Merry Christmas. Merry, Merry Christmas. Merry, Merry Christmas. So let us have a very Merry Christmas. With love and joy and fulfilled wishes. A choir singing in the distance. Let us all have a very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. We can always hope for some snow. Santa might kiss Mama under the mistletoe. Let the children love and play. Make this a magical holiday. Let us have a very Merry Christmas. With love and joy and fulfilled wishes. A choir singing in the distance. Let us all have a very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Oh, let's decorate the Christmas tree, and we can watch holiday movies on TV. Yeah, cook and bake and be together with the ones you love. It can't be better. Oh, so let us have a very Merry Christmas. With love and joy and fulfilled wishes. A choir singing in the distance. Let us all have a very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Let us all have a very Merry
We will stand our ground.
Welcome back to the DreamHack Showdown Winter. We're in towards the elimination side of things, keep in mind. So no one is walking away from this cleanly, but one at least will be alive. 8-7. At the moment, NOFEAR5 do lead, but this has been a close affair, Vince. This hasn't been as clear-cut as maybe I'd expected.
I agree. I think NOFEAR5 coming into this were the favorites. They do lead by a round, but now Pride on their choice through on the CTs, and Dushka had some chances on the cross. At least it's information that's been gathered, but very similar to how Pride kicked things off. It's all about Secret. It's all about that B play. And now Jammy trying to hold on with the USP, picks up one kill, drops the bomb down, but instantly traded out.
I was waiting for Jammy to go full Zen mode and just bop some shots with the USP, but not to be. But now here comes the brutal side of it. Pride just gonna rip this one so far away from NOFEAR5, leaving Elizabeth in a dire scenario, an unrecoverable one at that. And the lockdown was there. These players just poured in towards lower.
Yeah, straight outside. But the difference here is that whereas Pride had a lot of success very early on with these downstairs hits, instantly NOFEAR5 have ran into the blockade. And another fairly close go of it, but NOFEAR5, no post plant to speak of, will not be forcing. There should be Pride putting up a ton of frags, a ton of money in their bank.
Ooh, could be farming time. Let's see how this flash goes. Jammy could be on for an absolute belter of a round hit. Nade could help out, should do. Ooh, this is getting awkward. Lovely nade. But they do take a bit of ramp control. Bear in mind the P250 is with Fatal, so that's probably the biggest threat here. And overwhelmed, swarmed in the end. Victoria does take down Jammy, and they're actually going to probably get a palm for this. And I like Tori's position. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be a nuisance. It actually bodes so well. How on earth have they just done this? Now, suddenly there shouldn't be a problem, Vince. It shouldn't go any further than this. But, I mean, I'm getting a bit worried here.
Yeah, this is where the round should come to an abrupt end. Now that they run into the gauntlet of weapons, but Victoria with the MP9 is keeping the dream alive. And even though there are kits, there's no more grenades at their disposal, barring a flashback. MRSK gets the drop with a Glock from the backside, goes in on Dushka, has been silenced. The Preston Utopia with the spray, but it's going to be so close. Even with a kit, he can't get it done. NOFEAR5 have won the round with basically pistols.
Vince, it's too early to put this on the internet. That's not okay. Oh, dearie me, 9-8. That's... Oh, and the nade. The touchdown nade, but Jammy caught unawares. This kill on Tati was very curious. Considering Tati was kind of looking towards ramp, and that's where the CT side were, I feel that was a miscommunication or something went a little wrong there. I mean, obviously, it's pretty manic when those pistols are bearing down, but there are a couple of issues here and there, and do you know what worries me? I see a timeout and I don't see a tactical timeout by it. That makes my anxiety go whoop. So, you know, we'll see how this goes. Hopefully one of the teams is just talking through their options, maybe trying to, you know, mentally reset after that one. Or someone's, you know, smashed a keyboard or two. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. See, that's when I like casting with you, Vince. You know, you're quite good at your job almost. It's wild. Who'd have thought it?
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, no worries. But sometimes when I see rounds like that, in my head, I hear Potter's voice just yelling Glocks at me. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, we don't even need her. We just need a soundboard. If DreamHack could get that done, much cheaper than actually hiring Potter. You just hit the button. Done.
Yeah, we got told that we needed the Potter oof soundboard from the last best of 3.
Oh, it's a good one.
A lot of the rounds came down to like oof after a whiff here or a misplay there. So I definitely want to see that incorporated into the cast in the future. I think that was a round it definitely would have been used a few times.
Oh, there'd have been a couple of hits on that. Plenty of others to go through, you know, really bringing personality. And because we're still floating around as, you know, a camera in that gorgeous virtual arena with the curious crowd, very interesting, loving this pause. Because I'm not seeing this getting back underway, I do feel like this might be a technical one. So hopefully we can get confirmation on that, because I'm ready to go off topic, Vince. I'm ready. I'm dying. I'm dying to go off topic. The production has told me any second, which we all know can be a lie. I've been told that. Guys, no, just keep going. I'll be back soon. Back soon, guys. 40 minutes later. We're not back soon. No, I'm kidding. It should be fine. But I don't know what to make of this game yet, because some of these rounds feel like kind of very obvious errors and fumbles and potentially nerves coming in. It's kind of hard to quantify that though.
Yeah, like that last round, all kind of jokes aside, there were a lot of moments where it felt like the comms were an issue, because there was players in like the shadow spots with Glocks wrapping around the back of players, getting multiple headshots from the back, and that's how they ended up dying. And I feel like, you know, if Pride are on the same page, if they're doing their due diligence with checking their corners and you know, making sure that none of these angles can be an issue, that round just gets put to bed like pretty easily. Maybe you lose 2 players, it's a bit of an awkward one, but you get it done. The fact that they lost that, there's got to be so many problems right now. And yeah, I mean, this is almost like a detox period, right, for Pride. I wouldn't have even blamed them if they broke a keyboard or 2. I'd be fuming after that round.
It's just when, you know, you go real quiet on comms. You know, no one's willing to talk through that bad boy. You just have like lost to I think it was like 4 Glocks and 1 P250, and I don't even think the P250 really did that much. It was just isolating the player on ramp. The nade did so much damage as well from Jammy, but unable to convert anything off the back. No one towards that lower site. The rotations were individual. I think Tati either had a miscall or kind of the communication was in a weird spot. Ooh, what's on the orange people's jumper? They've got a branded jumper. That must be the DreamHack Showdown hoodie. Don't think there is one. I'm just making it up. It's a very DreamHack color, isn't it? Those orange jumpers.
Yeah, it does definitely look like it. But hey, look, they
Oh,
weren't
we're back
playing,
in
Lauren.
game.
We are actually back in the game.
Nice. Nice. We're back. Here we go. Right, back in the game, 9-8. And we've got mad aggression. What on earth is... Vince? What is going on?
I don't have an answer for you, Lauren. I don't. The only thing I can think is they try to purge that last round out so bad that they've just snatched an opportunity and it's gone horribly wrong. They only had 2 weapons, primaries with a bunch of Kevlar behind it. That's the MP9 gone. They still have a FAMAS. At least Tori is low, but there's no way that NOFEAR should be losing this round. Now, I do remember saying a fairly similar thing at the start of last round. We know how that one ended, so maybe I should just shut up.
Okay, well let's see how this goes. So far, 2 players are exceedingly low, but still alive, barely breathing, the walking wounded at this point, but they stand nonetheless. Utopia is probably the danger player, but I'm trying to see where they're currently at. Okay, in this sort of spot and tagged up again, but they get a kill. Now keep in mind, as said, 2 of these players, Victoria and Tori, are incredibly low, so damage could be done. But for now, Plant comes in. And considering they've got some, well, a rifle out of this, looks like they're just backing away.
Yeah, some Kevlar, AK, and their finances are basically busted. It does allow Pocha to maybe drop a weapon across. They could still get a reasonable buyout of this. Does mean they'll be trailing by 2 rounds, though. And NOFEAR5 looking to take a real stranglehold over this T-half. They look pretty solid for the most part, honestly.
Yeah, Tori. Going to be backing away from this. Everyone's going to make it out. Hopefully, if any of you die to that bomb. Lord help me. It should be all good to go. Double digits now reached for NOFEAR5. 10-8. Pride, maybe just trying to get a rifle or 2 away. As I said, they got 1. It's not the end of the world. It's certainly not a big bonus coming in, but it'll do the job.
Interesting. So I kind of thought they may go for a full investment behind these 3 guns, but they've decided, look, 3 guns, we've got a Deagle alongside it. Like, we've got enough firepower to put some obstacles up. We can play for AWPs and all that good stuff into the next round. Grenade being tossed in. Negligible damage to Jamie, though. Only loses 18, so she'll be fine to stand her ground. Oh, what?
Oh, it feels bad. Just chilling out, trying to line up your little flashy bang and your smoke and all the goodies. Suddenly, someone comes knocking at the door. Gotcha. Probably the danger player here. That is the bomb towards Hut, so still keeping some control. Wants to take it further and will lose life for it. Not the first time Tori has taken away any hope. So 11-8. Now the money... Now the money is going to start getting a little lower for Pride, but they should be able to fashion a purchase together. No, bells and whistles, no AWPs coming out, but a relatively serviceable buy. I do always look for those Molotovs though, because a pacey piece from the T side can throw a spanner in the works here.
It definitely can. I misread the situation economically. I thought they would be able to get their hands on an AWP. They decided to go for utility and a bit of firepower on top of it, making sure they all had their Kevlar. Jammy seems like a pretty solid, sturdy ramp anchor. Definitely can't blame her for the rounds that they've lost. As you said, she did like 200 damage with that grenade in the round that they ended up losing and got a kill with the MP9. So it's just even more crazy that they ended up losing that round. They've already depleted a lot of their utility here, Lauren. They only have 1 smoke left and plenty of flashbangs, but that's going to be hard to lock this map down.
I mean, this just makes me nervous for the other maps coming up. If people are dumping utility on the CT side so early, things like Overpass and Train will also punish you drastically for that. And you're right, they've got 1 smoke on Tati now to buy a bit of time and a couple of flashes, but that is literally it. And there's still a minute to play with, so the T side should be able to kind of make whatever they want out of this round now. They have decent map control in the form of Elizabeth getting some ground gained. It looks like Victoria fancies her odds, and this is a great hold from Tati though. Excellent play again, just posted up on the side itself. On just yeeted down the vents. And as did the hope for that round. So Pride finding the step in the right direction here. And again, the money is going to be at least building here. A cleaner round for the CTs, finally.
Yeah, it's an excellent round. Only losing one player. I think it was Tati was dropped down to 1 or 2 HP, but she survives and lives to tell the tale. So that's AK picked up. But no fear, we've had a good string of rounds. They're right back into a buy of their own. However, they've used their life savings. It's only Fatal that really has anything to write home about. Dushka, very aggressive, straight up close with the gun out. Fatal's already bypassed this on red container, but this comes down to Dushka for me. If she can wrap around the back, there's a lot of intel that she can garner for the rest of her team. Plus, could be in for a hatful of frags. Wait, bides her time, now snatches in. First kill down, and a second on top of it. The bomb's also been dropped down. She's done an exquisite job. Dinking Tori down to 28 additionally. That is huge. Surely Pride can make the most of this.
Yeah, don't get throwy now. You have everything you need to be working with here. You've got that bomb down. You've got map control. You know where they are. Utopia on the flank as well. Perfect place to bring that rifle into play. That precision is going to just bode so well. Victoria shows her how it's done, though. And a 2v3 still feasible, but they need another pick. Not going to get a freebie there. Nice work from Tati again. And Tati to close out. Tati looking like an MVP, honestly. And the amount of AKs that they could be able to get picked up from this would be lovely. I'd like to see the money actually for the CT side right here, because I'd be interested to see if they needed to go for the AWP over getting a couple of AKs. I'd much rather see a CT side opting to pick up the AKs, of course, because they can't purchase them, whereas they could have got the AWP for themselves. But money is still a little low, so fair enough. But for now, we have the pistols out, so here's hoping. But poor old Jamie is going to have the same thing her way.
This time she does have the AK though. Same decision. Fall back, stay alive. Call to the rest of your teammates. They have Pocha who can quickly get into the L-bend. Jamie though, holding it alone. Taking a little bit of damage, but nothing too significant. Pocha snatching at that chance, can't quite connect the shot. But the good news for Pride is that they haven't really made too many inroads downstairs. And they're all clumped together. So as long as Jamie stays alive, this round should go with her.
Jamie, what are you doing? Jamie, stop making this dangerous. I get very nervous seeing a player repeat towards ramp at this point. It did work out, but we've seen when it doesn't. 3 players still alive. We've got actually 2 Deagles and P250, so still a little bit of threat considering Jamie and Pocha are low. But they have lost most step around the map. Pocha, very aware of the potential of someone pushing through hell, trying to get the pressure on. And yeah, they're not having it this round. This is a shutdown.
Could be all 5 players standing. Elizabeth still has 40 seconds and the bomb retrievable, but there's going to be so many CTs up against her, and it's Pocha that actually puts the final nail in the coffin. 11-11, and Pride taking these last 3 rounds pretty straightforward, honestly, Lauren. They haven't seemed to have really broke a sweat.
I mean, I'm amazed they've been able to bounce back so well after a pretty rough time, obviously. And they've come back in and they've looked good. Maybe shaking that off, showing some real fortitude in the mentality rather than getting pretty tilted. Now, the money's getting a little low for the T's, but they've opted for the AWP to come in on this one. So Victoria looking to maybe crack things open towards ramp. It's a dangerous game. And she loses it. Gets the tag, the other gets the frag. Sadly, it's just how it goes. Jamie gets to have a little bit of a extended linger, a little bit of a leer towards it. But Elizabeth taking some control towards low, but Jamie's doing very well this round.
Yeah, another solid effort. Dushka, the same jumps that MRSK was going for on the other side of things. 11-11, we'll see Pride take the advantage and look to drive it home. Their choice of map with Overpass looming on the horizon. Pocha transitioning down towards the B side of the map. Smoke down and ramp will clear momentarily. But it seems like No Fear have their eyes set towards lobby, which is interesting considering that Elizabeth has already put her flag down in control room. So are they looking to vent dive to join her? This seems kind of lunacy to me when they have no real control over this vicinity, but they've both got down there.
How the hell did they just get down there and not use one of the 2 mollies to maybe clear out that CP vent? I don't know. You know what? There's a lot of unanswered questions here. And Dushka's found the first answer. Jamie's still watching the cross from door. Nice precision from Jamie there, but MRSK now left isolated. And it's going to be a quick cleanup. Pride looking down this map now. This feels much better for them. They are looking in control and they are keeping numbers standing. Their economy is in such a wonderful place. Pocha looking almost like they're maxing out towards money at this point. They are laughing here. Well, maybe not. Very serious. Clearly not laughing. but they should be. Things are going very, very well. But on the other side, I need to see an answer now. I need to see this fight back. I need to see the ability to adjust. I don't particularly think anything special is being thrown at them either. This just feels like a well-rounded CT side.
I would certainly agree with that sentiment. And maybe this is where we need to see one of those tactics kind of pulled out the sleeve if you are on the side of No Fear, because you've ran into this blockade of CT, not even aggression, just rock solid defense, good crossfires, nothing too special. Everyone's pulling their weight. You're seeing that no one's really falling behind on either team, which is always good to see. But No Fear, what do you have in store? Are we going to go for some hyper-aggressive plays? They've got a MAC-10, some pistols. Victoria running through that Molotov, but they've ran into the double blockade. Najami, who's been so good in ramp, Spray lets it down a little bit, puts a bit more pressure on top of Pocha, who flicks in, does connect onto MRSK, but it's not the outright frag. Flicking in for Tori, but there's the counteractive kill. 2v3. And Lauren, they're still in this round.
It's whether or not they can make anything out of their current position. If anyone offers up anything. To be fair, the CTs are very isolated from each other. They are not in necessarily the most complementary positions. But Tati's going to be keeping control of the ladder, even being bold enough to try and check down, see if anyone's there, but see if any opportunities present themselves. That is basically what they're looking for here, and if you're a disciplined CT side, you are digging your heels in. You give them no ground, you give them no quarter, and you don't allow that opportunity to rise. But I like them trying to work as a little kind of pack here, just kind of roaming around, seeing if any of, as said, those opportunities do present themselves.
Time starting to deplete, though. The grains ticking one by one. 35 seconds. Utopia's watching the hut exit point. Tati was watching the hut entry, but it's MRSK that comes out swinging, but there's Utopia. The guillotine comes to an abrupt end, and it's No Fear that concede again.
Still no clean answer coming out for No Fear. Keeping in mind that was a bit of a, again, like to purchase. These rounds are sketchy, but Pride are winning them now at least. Maybe work on those anti-ecos a touch. But we do have a nice purchase this time around. So this is the big shot for NOFEAR5. I feel as though this one slips away. You're kind of in that trouble of, we can't get those full purchases. They're getting towards 15. You start getting that feeling going for yourselves. And maybe a pacier piece, it looks like. Taking as quick control down towards Vent. A bit of a dive comes in from, I think that's Elizabeth, making her position very noted, but keeps control. I wonder if they can punish a rotation here. This could be the interesting factor. Maybe a lean back towards ramp potentially. But Jammy, I feel as though they're unsure of how many people potentially did vent dive at this point.
Yeah, that's the red herring potentially, where you buy into this false narrative of, oh, they've already vent dove, and you don't really know how many. Pocha's caught on the fence. Did she expect help? That's so odd. Maybe just hoping it was a ruse, a fake flash into a push elsewhere, but she's caught completely out in the open. That's the weapon that trades hands. Jammy again has to try and fend off against the entirety of the T army, and now Tori just dropping from above, checking the angle, and Dushka has been sent packing. No Fear looking like they'll finally get themselves back on the board after what will feel like an eternity.
Utopia and Tati, there are not many easy ways back into this. You have players everywhere, but that's the step. Fatal opening up an opportunity here. A 2v3 is far more possible. And look at the utility left. Tori, that was some sound cues made as well. Tori, though, so quick with this. And keep in mind, I think Pocha was fully white. That's why that AWP got left where it was. And Tori's had an absolute belter of a round, but death awaits. And now Utopia tries to hold on, but no, that ramp take worked very well. The vent dive to ramp take, and Pocha just completely blind. Caught on the railing, it looked like. Just fumbled it. Absolutely rough scenes. And I mean, I don't know how blind she was, but to get that caught and not be able to see on the minimap that you're simply not moving, very curious.
Yeah, it felt as if the timing really couldn't have been worse for her as well, as she just moved away. Well, whichever way you spin it, it's 13-12. One of those grenades actually bounces off the door, doing more harm than good. MRSK just about survives, but down to 14 HP.
Do not love that for her, but I guess the intention is there now. Victoria a little late on the trigger to be pulled, and domination from Jammy towards ramp, pushing up towards radio and get the benefit for it. And now the CTs are trying to take some control. These people are playing ahead of smokes. It's so brazen. This is bold. It makes me nervous. But the three players for the T side are leaning towards the lower side. Jammy is still here though and gets that information.
Yeah, That information is worth so much. They've smoked off the right-hand side of ramp, but the left side has been untouched, and so she will use that as a pivot angle. Also making sure that none of those Ts have made moves outside of control room windows. Post plant comes in, but Pride will be okay with this. They are playing for the post plant. They've got a Molotov, they've got flashes, and they have the player advantage. Positionally, NOFEAR in decent spots. Not really anything to write home about, though, but now that time is starting to dwindle away, 2 kills come in. Tati's got the Molotov fragging in the blink of an eye. Everyone dies from NOFEAR. So a successful post-plant, a successful defuse, and Pride will edge themselves 2 rounds away from the first map.
That retake, it was a little sketch. Get on the defuse, please. You'll be fine with the AWP. Don't need to make it this close. But Tati, I've got to say, is worth a weight in gold at the moment. I've been very impressed with the performance from her. I mean, scoreboard-wise, 19 kills, not bad. Jammy's been very controlled on ramp, but I feel as though Tati has been very much kind of the bookends. Closing out some of these rounds, starting them up as well when they're on the T side. I've been very, very impressed with that. But again, NOFEAR5 have been having close rounds. These vent dives have opened up a couple of opportunities, but I feel now they are going to just pour Molotovs at this. They're going to be very, very present at denying this. So I'm wondering if there's a switch up. There's a bit of a difference to be had here, a difference to be made. You can see Dushka, the answer is there straight away. Just spam it out. Try and keep that presence. Do not allow that vent dive once again. And the T's looking like they want to switch up a little, maybe take some outer control.
I think what's been most impressive to me about Tati is that it's not a case that she had a really good T half and then slowed down on CT. She's just kept it going. Like, the impact has been felt the entirety of Nuke. NOFEAR now need to live up to that mantle and start to push outside as Wall of Smokes has been deployed. Victoria going in first with the AWP, 2 more behind her. Pocha, correct timing, has a good read. Was that second smoke off? I think it may have landed a bit too high. Oh, that's so grim for NOFEAR.
Yeah, Utopia banking on Tati here, but didn't expect the wrap. And now Tati needs to come up with the goods again. Does have the support from Pocha, but it needs at least one here, I feel. Does have that right IP, does get one. Flash to the left, isolates another, can't do any more, but it's bought time. It's bought an opportunity for Jammy and Dushka to do something about this. But where is the bomb? It's with Fatal right now on the site itself. No support. Fatal dies for this. Tori just left her alone. No cover, no help. And Pride make it to 15.
That's a really odd decision, isn't it? She went to go check lobby, I think, while the bomb came down, just completely leaving main and heaven open. There's going to be some questions asked, surely, the two of them. Because that feels like such an unorthodox decision at such a bad moment in the round and map. Let's be honest, that could have just thrown away everything for NOFEAR.
And you could even see Dushka instantly tries to swing back in, expecting someone to try and trade that. You could see that they were expecting at least someone there potentially. And if you're going to fake the bomb site, fair enough, but that looked a little bit more committed. That wasn't just a tap and a switch. That was, quite a commitment. And, as I said, maybe a misread of information, a misunderstanding. But again, Jammy had gotten kills from Heaven, so they knew this was a player in Heaven. But again, split decisions in the moment, very tricky, but it's match point now. So it's hard to move on from that, especially coming into this round. Your brain's a little frazzled, so you're going to have to keep it together now. Mac 10's out. They've scraped together an atrocious 5-int.
Yeah, it's looking incredibly grim. The run and gun aspect to the 2 Mac 10s, though, may afford them a lot more mobility. They haven't got it done with AKs. Don't have a huge amount of hope for the Mac 10s. However, Tori, posted just outside of ramp, has forced away some utility. Look at how aggressive these 2 Mac 10 wielders are. Already into control room. Jammy, who's made moves down from ramp, is now again against the entirety of the T. She has Pocha to watch her backside. But now the Molotov has just destroyed her. Only 1 kill came out, but it's from the AWP, and already NOFEAR has sprung onto the site.
I love this. Love the pace change, the quickness to it, the potency of it working very well. But the play back in from Secret could be a problem. Fatal, though, quickly. Oh, the spray just evades her. It's just 2 standing. MRSK posted on the site itself as well. And now Elizabeth roaming around towards ramp, gets met by Pocha. A 1v3. Vince, I just don't see this happening right now.
No, it was never looking good, was it? And unfortunately, NOFEAR, they ran out of steam. Lauren, for the most part of that map, you felt like it was neck and neck, like they had every chance. They even had advantages in the second half. But Pride, as soon as they got their economy established, it was one-way traffic.
You're spot on. It really did switch up. A couple of players came online, and once again, I feel like the same story for NOFEAR5. We were saying it before in their previous game. when things are going well for them, it looks so good, but they hit a bit of a brick wall and then it suddenly starts to fall apart and they don't find the answers they require. I'm hoping going forward they can find more of those because they need more. This best of 3 is going to be brutal. And obviously, this now has to be looking towards Overpass, towards Train. That is going to be NOFEAR's map as well. So more problems potentially ahead, Vince. I mean, I'm going to throw this to a break because I think we need to catch our breath going into that second map. But before we even get there, we'll be hearing from the desk in just a moment's time.
We will stand our ground. We will stand our ground.
Well, a match that looked relatively close, but with a pistol and then a Glock victory going in the favor of NOFEAR. I almost have to look at this one, Miss Harvey, and say that maybe it wasn't as close as we thought, because Pride, I feel like in most of the gun rounds, they kind of look like the better team.
They did look like the better team, but, you know, the score at some point was 11-8 in NOFEAR5's favor. So there was definitely a couple of key moments in that game that we didn't know which way it was going to go. Christine even mentioned off cast, you know, at some point, is this where Pride is going to lose everything and go downhill from there? But they didn't. They won the round that she mentioned that. And after that, they looked really good.
Yeah, no, they did look fantastic. They started just rallying rounds together. And, you know, it was that AWP from Padia just transitioning over to the ramp side. Jamie was doing a fantastic job holding down the fort. And I liked her game sense tingling throughout that entire ramp side. I mean, she didn't just fall back when the pressure was on. She knew the timing. She knew exactly when she could hold her ground. And that really reinforced the defenses across the map here.
Yeah, we had a few highlight players actually going through. And I know that personally, I was sort of looking at Tati. I know that was the same for you, Miss Harvey. Oh, maybe not the highest tally of frags, but definitely some really high impact ones, especially with the site holds.
Especially towards the end. I think that those rounds is where the nerves kicks in, and, you know, she had no fear, not to make a pun out of this, but she did run and really traded tremendously well. Not only traded, but entry, like with these double kills here, that ult into the A site was so crucial. That was a really important round coming out of Pride. And overall, it seemed like they had something to prove in the server because Jamie and Tati were doing some work.
That's the thing that impresses me, Potter, is you kind of went into this one and said, well, we've got a player from Kyrgyzstan. I've not seen her play much before, but she's going to be my highlight player. And then we get into the match, and annoyingly, you were correct. You were bang on. She had a fantastic game.
Yeah, no, definitely experience shining through. And the fact that the synergy between Dishka and Tati just shining through as well in 10, and they seem to be really connecting well. Dishka was very often towards that secret side or the first player getting that contact towards the T-Red, and all those highlights, as Steph mentioned, Tati responding so well and getting those trades and even then some in those multi-kill moments. So really good stuff. Individuals stepping up huge for Pride.
Yeah, and an impressive performance from them. I do wonder a little bit if this might be just them being a bit more uncomfortable on Nuke on the NOFEAR side of things. And because of that, we now have to go into their choice. So we'll head into Overpass after a short break. And I don't know, I'm hoping we'll see them step up and take us to a third map, because unfortunately thus far, we've seen a lot of quick 2-0s. We've seen a lot of dominant series. Maybe this one will finally be a different one. Join, of course, my favorite Joe of Pincy after the break.